I'm Trevor Turner. Once lost, now living on purpose. I know what it's like to feel locked out of your own potential. This show is for the ones who are ready to take their power back and write a new story, 1 hour at a time. You can do it. You can do anything, and you don't need permission. That's why I started the free hour, to give people the space to change their story, to remind them you are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are not done, you are powerful. You can find freedom, you can find yourself, and you decide what happens next.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the free hour. It's your boy Trevor Turner, and we're back with another video. It's been a minute. I know it's a lot of stuff been going on. I've been traveling, seeing family and stuff. First of all, if you pray, or if you're somebody who sends thoughts and feelings out to the universe or good vibrations, whatever it is you do, manifestation, send those to my family, especially my moms and my pops. Got some stuff going on with them. Went to see them recently. Just send your good thoughts, your vibes, your prayers their way. Please, thank you. Second of all, I went down to Morris Brown College. That's an HBCU down in Atlanta. I'm guessing it's like right in the same area as the other HBCUs. But I got an opportunity to do some real talk with some of the students down there, male students, female students, and some of the faculty. And man, when I tell you that I feel like the future of our community is starting to really be entrusted in some really good hands, it's coming. It's coming. Like, some of these students that I talk to are not only incredibly intelligent, but they are incredibly civic-minded. They are incredibly solution-oriented. They know what they needed, and they know that they need to be the ones to bring that to our community, man. And it was just really amazing to go talk to those people. It really was. And if you're watching this video, if you came to my channel from that real talk when I came down there, man, salute, man, for real. Like, we in good hands with y'all. It really just gives me so much less to have to worry about, knowing that we have y'all that are going to be on the front lines here very, very soon. Beyond that, it's either going to be right here, it's going to be right here. Little preview of the Egypt video I did. Man, it was an amazing trip. It was the thing we did last year. I've been working on it. I put the finishing touches on it. I got it out. Just now getting ready, waiting for the opportunity to share the permission from the Umoja program. Once I get that, that's going up. Now, I don't know if I'm put it on a separate channel or if I'm put it on this one, but that is going to go along with like my Second Chance Month video, all of the spotlights and the interviews and stuff that I have done. I'm going to put them in their own separate place, and in a place that they belong, so that people can come see the things that I've been working on. People can see the types of films that I've been working on, the short films and all these other things. And we are actually going to be working on one this summer. We're going to be working on that shows how this whole thing was created. And it also shows a little bit of what incarceration does to people. But most importantly, it shows that we can come back from it. It's my story. And I think it's time to, instead of just telling you, it's time to start showing you. We've been doing a lot of me telling my story, a lot of me talking, a lot of me sitting in front of this camera. But I think now it's time for me to find some people who really embody the spirit of what happened and really try to show it, and then also kind of build my chops with this camera, man. I think it's that time. And one of the things that's going to happen is it's going to happen starting this summer. We're going to start working on that stuff because right now it's crunch time. If you've been to school, this time of the year is crunch time. Finals is going to be coming up. Group projects is going to be getting due. Papers are going to be getting due. Exams, things like that. Like, it's really time to really buckle down so that I can end my semester strong. And, that's what we're doing. That is the sum of everything that's been coming out. And then so that way I can be on track to get graduated. But yeah, all of that really fits into the topic of this video today, because today we are back with another episode in our ABC series, the ABCs of Tree, the free hour ABCs, and we are doing another episode in our productivity series. Now, our productivity series, we've talked about it before, is our series where we align efforts with purpose. This is where we lay the foundation, where we build the direction, where we do the action, where we do what we do to build the life that we don't have to be ashamed of, where we build a life that we don't have to hide from, that we don't have to run from, where we follow our purpose. And I know one of the things that I've said before, and I'm gonna say it again, I'm gonna remind you guys because it's been a minute. Purpose is what we make of it. It's the things that we love, the things that we are good at. It is that intersection of what helps other people and what we are good at, the things that we can get lost in, the things that we just find ourselves doing effortlessly, right? Everybody has one. It's not for us, it's for other people, but the side effects are going to help us, right? And this is how we build it. It's not about building somebody else's dream. It's not about being a cog in somebody else's wheel, right? It's not about being the best worker or co-worker or worker bee that you can be. It is about building your life, building your purpose around the time that you have to do things that you have to do to survive. The reason those things are so important is because for many of us, we have very small windows of time. Like for me, I'm now working, 8 to about 5. I go to school, I go to the gym, I get home, it's already dark, it's like 10 o'clock. I leave before the sun comes up. I'm out of my house from can't see to can't see. And I still have to find these windows of time to do the things that I feel like is my purpose, to do the things that I feel like I was put here to do. Now, I work for a nonprofit. I help people. A lot of those people come from similar situations as me, but that is not the full extent of what I was put here to do. So I have to find the time. I have to find the effort. I have to find the energy. I have to find the momentum to do the things that I know I need to do to build what I need to build. And that's why this topic today is so important. We are on our productivity series and we are on the letter M. See, before we've talked about things like focus, we've talked about things like leverage, we've talked about things like batching, we've talked about things like decision making. Now we go deeper. This works because focus is where your energy goes, leverage is how your effort multiplies, and momentum is how change sustains itself. We're on the letter M, and the letter M is for momentum, and this is the bridge from starting change to becoming change. This is the bridge from where you start to getting to the end. We've talked about laying the foundation. We've talked about where we should find our purpose at. We've talked about how we should divvy up our time into our purpose. We've talked about removing the decision factor out of it. We've talked about actions to get the boat moving, to get the ball rolling, to get the car going. We've talked about all of those things, but this is where we talk about maintaining it. Starting is hard. Starting is hard. But what's even harder is stopping once you finally get going. We've talked about a body in motion stays in motion, but a body at rest stays at rest. And this is the core concept that we're going to pull from, because once you start doing and continue doing, it is so much harder to stop than it even was to start to begin with. That's momentum. And unfortunately, me included, most people, we just don't know how to build it. See, we used to rely on things like motivation, random bursts of discipline. And that would look like a start, a stop, a restart, and then a stop. That looks like inconsistent effort. That looks like bursts of really strong effort followed by longer stretches of mediocre effort. That looks like you were a hard worker last month, you didn't do nothing this month. That looks like you never show up to practice. That looks like you don't show up to the gym on a consistent basis. You come and you go crazy once or twice a week. And I used to keep starting over. And it was like every version of me never actually lasted. Now, this is something that comes from and is a byproduct, a side effect of the lifestyle that I was living, in and out of jails, in and out of juvenile, in and out of prison, right? One of the things that happens with that is that when you come home, you have nothing. You are thrown into a situation where you start with, it's basically like pass and go. That gate money is $200. You start with $200 and you have to figure it out from there. You have nothing, but you have to get something. And if you do this over and over and over again, we find that it becomes a cycle. We find that it becomes a cycle of life where we don't know, where momentum, we don't know how to do that. The idea of momentum scares us. The idea of me doing anything for more than a couple of years and continuing to do it for a very long time, it scares me. It scares me. It's unknown territory to me, right? And I think one of the things that I've noticed too is about people who even haven't gone through this cycle, it's that like they show up when they want to show up for what they want to show up for, but that energy leaves and they stop showing up, even for the things that they want to show up for. So it goes beyond just me like having the motivation and the energy to show up for this job, right? And then losing that motivation and not wanting to show up for this job. It goes to the point where I've seen people like, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I feel just so much energy towards. And they show up for it in about 6 months, a year, and then they stop. Once they lose that motivation, once they don't see the results that they want to see immediately, once they don't get it overnight, once they don't get the validation from the other places, that motivation seems to leave. And since they haven't built the momentum to just keep going, to just keep riding through the storm, to keep crawling, to keep walking, whatever the case, to keep standing in the storm, they stop. And I used to do that too, like every version of me never lasted. Momentum is greater than motivation. Momentum and discipline, they go hand in hand. Change doesn't come from intensity. It comes from continuity. And I relate everything to the gym because the gym is just such an easy way to put this. Like you're not gonna see a result from the gym overnight. It's like Patrice O'Neal said when he went to the gym and he was trying to change his life and he was doing all this stuff. And then he was like, damn, I got to do this again tomorrow. He didn't even see a lump. He didn't see nothing, right? Yes, you have to do it again tomorrow. You have to do it again next week. You have to do it again next month. You have to do it again next year. You have to do it again the year after that. It is the same way for the things that we do for ourselves, for our lives, for our purpose, for what we want to build. You have to keep going. It doesn't come from the intensity that you put out the one day. You have to be continuous with your effort. And this isn't to say that you don't put out 100% of your intensity. What this means to say is that you put out 100% of your intensity that you have to offer and give that day. And then the days that you don't feel like you can put out 100%, you put out 100% of what you have in the tank. So if I only have 70% to give today, if I only have 50% to give today, I give all of that. Instead of just saying, damn, I don't have the motivation. I don't feel like I can do this intensely as I want to. I don't feel like I'm as strong as I normally am. I don't feel like I'm as energetic as I normally am. I don't feel like I don't got it in me today. So I'm not going to show up at all. That is where we get caught in the motivation trap instead of the momentum trap. Because I show up to the gym, right? And I feel like I've been getting strength results. I feel like I've been getting stronger. I know I've been losing a little bit of weight. I know that I'm looking better. I'm feeling better than I ever have in my entire life, right? And I go on the days when I know that I can get up under there and I can push 315 for a bunch, 4 or 5 times. I can push 215 as a warm-up set for like 10, 12, whatever. I can push 135 for like 20, 25, right? I go there on those days and I show out and I do my thing. I also go on the days where I can barely pick up 100 on the dumbbells. I also go on the days when I can barely, like my arms are shaking doing the warm-up weight. I also go on the days When my gym partner is talking about, I need you to squat 225 15 times, and I look at him like he's insane. I don't have it today, but I still go on those days. That's momentum. Because once you get into the habit of just doing it, once you get into the habit of just going, once you get into the habit of just showing up, it just becomes so much easier to do the thing, even if you don't have the motivation. Even if you don't feel like you can bring your best, your quote unquote best to the table. Because just showing up is enough. So much, 9 times out of 10. And this is rooted in behavioral psychology. And it's expanded by researchers like John A. Nevin. Behaviors that are repeated consistently, they become easier to continue. Look, the more you do something, the easier it becomes to keep doing. Stopping is what resets the difficulty. And we talk about this in recovery all the time. And this is easier to understand in terms of recovery, unfortunately, than it is to understand in terms of building our purpose. But it makes it to become such a clear and obvious example, right? If you build clean time, if you build up under your belt time away from the drug, time away from those environments, time away from those people, you spend less effort in avoiding or choosing not to, or not going around, or whatever, when it comes to that particular substance, when it comes to those particular people, when it comes to those actions, when it comes to those behaviors. Like, I have over 4 years of clean time, right? 4 years of clean time. I'll have 5 later this year. It's so much easier for me not to go around certain places. I don't go to the bar. I don't pull up to the weed shop. I don't pull up to where I know they're going to be, doing copious amounts of substances at, right? I don't pull up to those places. But when I first got out of prison and I only had like a couple years under my belt, right? Or when I first got arrested and I only had a couple months under my belt, or a couple weeks, or a couple days, right? Those thoughts were still there. Like, I was fighting against the desires to go see the homies, to go to the bar where I know females are going to be at, to go to these places where I know like the fun is going to be having at. The problem is that I know that beyond the fun, beyond the females, beyond the homies, is going to be other stuff there. So I had to build my momentum into not going to these places. The more I said no to the craving, the more I said no to the thought, the more I said no to putting myself into that situation, the easier it becomes, to where now it's my life. I'm not fighting against those things anymore. Because for me to be going to that environment, putting myself in that position, being around those types of people, that is no longer my lifestyle anymore. I'm not fighting against a lifestyle. I'm not trying to change something anymore. The change has already been implemented because of momentum, because I've done it so many times, because I have so much time under my belt. But every time that you stop, every time that you go back, every time that you say no, every time that you look at your schedule and you're supposed to be doing this type of work, you know that you're supposed to be doing that to build your business. You know that you're supposed to be at the gym. You know that you're supposed to be talking to people, building these relationships, building AI prompts, doing whatever the case, right? Doing faceless videos, doing whatever it is that you do that you are trying to build for yourself. Every time that you don't do that, every time that you stop, you don't actually pause. You restart. And I'll give you the perfect example. When I got back here in town, right? I had all my stuff, like, over in the corner where it's at. I got all my tripods. I have the lights and stuff. I have everything like, set up to where I can just pull it out, put it, start recording. I'm ready to go. But the fact that I had been working on this Egypt video, the fact that I had been, done a video in there on the podcast with the homie, the fact that I had been traveling and seeing my family, right? When I went to pull this stuff out, I was like, damn, where do I plug this stuff in? Like, where do I put this stuff? Like, am I sitting in the right spot? Do I have this open? What do I do? And I was just like, damn, like, it feels like I'm restarting, even though I've been doing this since I got out of prison. It felt like I was restarting. And the thing about it is that every time you stop with what it is that you were trying to chase after, every time you try to take the water break, every time that you try to take the break to catch your breath, every time that you try to even just like, I'm going to sit down for a minute, I'm going to collect my thoughts for a second, you are restarting the entire process. What finally changed for me is that I didn't want to start over anymore. What finally changed for me is that I didn't want to start over anymore because, look, I went to CRC back in I got arrested in 2009. When I first moved to California, 2009, I got arrested. I was doing my thing or whatever. Mind you, I had been in college. I was at Jackson State in Mississippi. I was doing just fine. I'd met some people out there, built this really great group of friends that I still talk to this day. I had got engaged. I was living a different type of lifestyle. I was in school. I was doing all these other things, right? And then, but the problem was I wasn't really doing that well in school. So I ended up having to come back out here to the West. My family had moved out to California. I came back out with family, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna continue going to school. I'm gonna be helping take care of my family. I'm gonna doing all this other stuff, right? And immediately, I paused. I paused what I was doing. I skipped a semester in school. I didn't keep in contact with the good, positive people I just met. I didn't really, focus on getting a job either. And I found a group of the wrong people. And I immediately went back into the old ways. So 2009, I get out here, like in May. August passed, I'm not in school, I'm not working. The summer goes, I'm into the fall, I get arrested by winter. Before the winter's up, I get arrested. And I'm sitting in jail, back in jail again. I'm in my 20s at this time. And I go to CRC on an N-number program. The N-number program was supposed to be like a 6-month program. I ended up doing like 3 years because they kept losing funding. So the people would go into the class and then they would get kicked out because they lost funding. And we were like 2 classes behind the class that was in there. So we had to wait for them to actually finally graduate, leave. Another class went in, finally graduated, leave, and then we could get in, graduate, and finally leave. And they lost funding like twice. Like when we got there, there was no funding. So they weren't actually doing the class. They restarted the class, they lost funding one more time, and then finally they got the funding back, secured that, and then all 3 cohorts went through. And then, the program is no longer at this point in time. But I got out. I went to Kennemer. On the N number, they send you to Kennemer Center. It's like a sober living at the time. Now it's an MCRP program. It's the same place that I went to when I got out this time, except back then there's no ankle monitor. You're allowed to leave on the weekends. You're allowed to work wherever you want to work at. You're allowed to go whatever school you want to go to. So I get a job. I'm doing my thing. I stay clean. Oil field work. Get all my certifications. I'm starting school. I said, you know what, this oil field job is actually working out really well for me. So I stopped going to school at the community college and I'm working. I'm doing my thing, right? And then music things start popping off with my bro. I go with him, but I'm still clean. Like everything is still cool. Like I'm meeting all sorts of great people. I'm doing my thing and I'm traveling around. I'm doing my stuff, right? I come back. COVID hit. I can't travel around no more. I can't do my music no more. I can't go out no more. I can't even get a job no more. And so I paused. I stopped. Mind you, this is the longest up until, that was the longest that I'd ever been out of prison. So like I still haven't reached that same streak yet. That was the longest I'd ever been out of prison. And I still fell back into cycles. I still fell back into cycles because I realized that I hadn't changed enough about me. I hadn't kept the momentum. I was still doing the same things. Like all of these versions of me wasn't lasting. Like I was working at this place and I would show up and I'd give all this intensity, then I would stop. I would leave. I would show up at another place. I would give up all this intensity, this energy. I would stop. I would leave. I would go into this thing or this avenue or this venue or this arena and I would give up all this energy and intensity. Then I would stop. Then I would leave. And I would do all of those different things until I finally accidentally fell back into the old thing. And one of the things that happens with me is like, I'm not a very good criminal. So I started selling again, started doing my thing again back in 2020, 2021, I'm on the way back to prison, right? because I was an all or nothing type of person. If I didn't have everything to bring to the table, I wasn't bringing anything to the table. I wasn't coming to the table. But the new me keeps it moving towards my purpose no matter what. There have been so many times, so many days that I wanted to quit doing this. There have been so many times that I wanted to quit showing up to BC. There have been so many times I wanted to quit showing up to Cal State. There have been so many times that I wanted to quit showing up to Garden Pathways, but I don't anymore. I don't anymore because I finally found that consistency beats intensity, that momentum beats motivation, that desire and discipline beats what I feel right now in the moment. I focus on who it is that I want to be. I focus on who it is that I want to become. I focus on what it is that I want my life to look like. Not what I want to do, not what I want to be, but what my life needs to look like to fulfill my purpose. And then I reverse engineer it. So I know what my life wants to look like. I know how I want to affect people. Now I can start thinking about what I want to be. Now I can start thinking about what I want to do. And I can start walking towards that every single day. Even when it feels like it's storming outside, even when it feels like it's a blizzard outside, when it feels like it's beautiful outside and the steps are just easy to take. When I have so much energy in the tank, when I have nothing in the tank because I've gone 5 days a week, leaving before the sun comes up, getting back after the sun goes down, and I feel like I have nothing left in the tank, I can sit down here and I can do my papers. I can sit down here and I can prepare my stories and get ready to talk to you guys on these videos. I can get on my phone, I can talk to my mentees because now I'm in mentorship at work. I can bring the energy that I have to them. And it's one of the things that I even found myself slipping on. I'm not even gonna, hide it or lie about it. It's something that has even been brought up at work. It's like, you were so positive. You showed up with all of this energy. And I realized that I was falling back almost into the trap of relying on motivation. So I had to get back to consistency. I had to get back to discipline. Like even today, I didn't feel like necessarily doing this. I haven't got a haircut yet. I still got the whole, been traveling for a week and some change look, clothes are getting washed. I had to wear my gym shirt, whatever. But it's like, you know what? Showing up with 40% is better than not showing up because you don't have 100%. Time is going to go by regardless, whether you show up or not. The days are going to pass you by regardless whether you show up or not. This is one of the things that I talk to people about when I'm talking to people about either going back to school, when I'm talking about people, especially my mentees, like going back to school, getting into trucking school, doing some type of vocational training, doing these certifications that we got, doing these classes that we got. And a lot of times they're just like, it's just not the right time. I just don't feel like this. And the thing about it is this, time is going to pass regardless. 2027 is going to come whether you do anything or not, whether you start going to school or not, whether you start looking for that new job or not, whether you start looking for that vocational training or not, whether you start that electrician's apprentice training or not, whether you start to become that tattoo apprentice or not, whether you go out and get that camera and start talking into it and telling your story or not, whether you start interviewing the people around you or not, whether you start showcasing what it is that you do, your artistic abilities, your talents or not. 2027 is going to come regardless. Whether you feel motivated or not, whether you take action or not, that time is coming. Period. And this is one of the things that I need you to think about. Keep it moving because time is going to move no matter what. Let's talk about actionable shifts. Lower the bar. Lower the bar, but don't break the chain. Show up even at 30 to 40%. Consistency is better than perfection. Like I said earlier, showing up at 30 to 40% is better than not showing up because you don't have 100. We think that we are doing people a favor by not showing up when we have a little bit less energy in the tank. But the problem is that the way that the world is right now, the way that things are going right now, every time you look at social media, every time you think about like your situation, it's going to sap you. You are rarely going to be able to show up with 100%. Point blank, period. If you're a person with a heart, if you're a person who cares, things are going to happen. You're going to see people hurt. You're going to have issues with your family. You're going to have issues with your home situation. You're going to have issues with your job. You're not going to be able to pay all your bills. Things are going to happen. You need to show up anyway. Protect that streak. Momentum is fragile early. If you miss once, it's easy to miss again. One of the things that I got to tell people is this, right? Especially when it comes to the gym, because I talk to my coworkers about the gym all the time. They're like, yeah, but I don't really feel like going. Just go. Go anyway. You were supposed to lift weights. You were supposed to have a full split, have a full workout plan for you today. Go and just head on the treadmill, incline walk for 10 minutes. Because that momentum of not going to the gym early is so fragile. That momentum of not building on what you want to build early is so fragile. Of calling that person, of filling out for that grant, of doing that training online, of watching those videos online instead of scrolling where you're supposed to be doing what it is that you're trying to get to, signing up for that course, signing up for that college, whatever the case, right? When you get into a habit early of letting yourself miss for whatever excuse, that is the momentum that you build, because momentum is fragile early. Go. This is why when they say for things like NA or AA, do 30 meetings in 30 days, 90 meetings, 90 days. Because once you get the ball rolling and you keep it rolling, that ball will stay rolling forever. Build identity through repetition. It's not about, I'm trying to change, or I want to become the person, I want to do this, I want to be doing that. It's about, I am someone who does this. And this is something we've talked about a lot. This is just who I am now. This is just what I do now. These actionable shifts help you to get to the point where that is just what you do. And it's harder not to do it than it is to drag yourself into doing it. Momentum doesn't come from going hard. It just comes from not stopping. I think we just overcomplicate things. I think that we look for this great and wonderful, warm, fuzzy feeling, but it's just about being disciplined. It's just about doing it. It's just about getting up. It's about going. And once you keep doing it and you keep saying yes and you keep denying yourself and making those sacrifices, it becomes a part of you that's where you don't have, it's not a sacrifice anymore. It's just what you do. You're not stuck because you can't start. You're stuck because you keep resetting. It's about starting the day on the wrong foot, on a back foot. It's about looking at these different activities. It's about looking at these different behaviors. It's about looking at these different habits, right? Different attitudes, these different outcomes from a perspective of failure. Because so many times you've stopped, so many times you've reset instead of just kept going. The version of you that you're trying to become is built in what you repeat. Whether those are good actions, bad actions, positive actions, negative actions, healthy actions, or unhealthy actions. The version of you that you're trying to build is built in what you repeat. So be mindful of where the momentum is going. Focus showed you where to aim. Leverage showed you what matters. Momentum is what turns it into life. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Show up when you don't feel like showing up. Don't do it for anybody else but you. All right? This has been your boy Tree, Trevor Turner. Thanks for coming back and enjoying the video with me. Thank you for coming back and let me give you a word. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for allowing me to continue to show up. All right? Like I said, it's been your boy Tree. If you like the video, like the video. If you feel any type of way about it, comment on it. If you disagree with anything, comment on it. Let me know. I mean, it ain't going to be nothing but a conversation. If you like what I said, comment on it. Let me know. Let's have a conversation. Subscribe to the channel. All right? And then be on the lookout for when all these other videos are going to come out. Maybe on a separate channel. Maybe on this channel. I don't know. And like I said, it's been your boy Tree. Deuces.